Andy Sullivan, Blue Collar Corner. Here we are downtown at Zucotti Park, right here in the heart of the protest for the Occupy Wall Street protesters. And as you pan over here, you can see the kind of conditions they're living. It's not pretty. I know by their website, a lot of people have been donating food and tarps and blankets and comforters by which they could sleep on. People have stands set up with literature, I guess trying to galvanize their demands and what they stand for. It's been kind of difficult to get anybody to talk to us. A lot of the people are clearly under the influence of something. You could tell some people are here just for other reasons, maybe food or drugs or God knows what. We're just going to walk around the corner here, see what's going on. We're going to keep the camera rolling. There is an awful, huge police presence, as you can see, across the street. I have not witnessed any acts of violence or anything too rambunctious. I mean, basically, it seems pretty peaceful, but it is late, and a lot of people have kind of settled down on their tops, and I guess calling it a protest for tonight. I got to tell you, though, the weather is going to start to really play a factor now. It is very cold and windy. Looks like it's about to rain. Hello, sir. Would you like to talk to us? Actually, we just want to know, like, what brought you down here?
Well, everybody's got a common issue. Mine.
What do you think's the most common issue?
Well, everyone's talking about social injustice, whether it be poverty, joblessness, drug abuse, everything in between. That is economically related. But for me, I think the most important issue is the Federal Reserve.
Are you part of the end the Fed thinking? Is that part of what you guys want to do?
Well, I'll put it to you this way. The Fed has no accountability to anyone, and it's a private banking cartel, which government is a partner to, and is basically forced to borrow money from if it wants to operate. So I have a problem with a group of unelected people managing our economy and claiming to be essentially above the law, as Greenspan once said on TV a couple years ago.
Well, what's your name?
My name is Gabriel Brown.
Gabriel, I got to tell you, that's the most articulate thing I've heard that come out of the protest. How far apart are you from, say, like the Tea Party, and their thinking of smaller government, less spending?
Well, it depends which form of Tea Party you refer to. You have two types of Tea Party. You have grassroots individuals who believe in the very premise you refer to, and then you have Glenn Beck and Sarah Palin, who are kind of hijacked it in some regard and turned it into a alternative wing of the Republican Party, which I'm not very supportive.
And what's the difference? Like, what kind of wing do they operate as opposed to the smaller government and less spending?
Well, I feel to me it appears, I could be wrong, but it appears like it's disgruntled Republicans who lost the 2008 a presidential election. And I feel that once they get a Republican in power, they're not going to be discussing government corruption if it's on the Republican side. They're going to leave it alone.
Okay, fair enough. And how do you feel about today's administration? Do you feel that they've been... do you support them?
Are you referring to the Obama administration?
Yes.
Well, I would like to support him. He seems like a sincere guy. The only problem is Wall Street individuals like Timothy Geithner, who's a former CEO of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, who's elected as Secretary of Treasury, which I really feel is a conflict of interest.
Who's also a tax cheat.
Oh, absolutely. He would expect you and I to pay our what they call fair share, but yet he avoids taxes. But really, in reality, he's not avoiding taxes. That's the benefit he gets for working for.
And how do you feel about Obama having Jeffrey Immelt from General Electric, the CEO, being the head of his economic board and paying no taxes?
Well, if you look at a majority of them, they really don't serve the American people very well. They serve foreign interests like the Council on Foreign Relations and Bilderberg Group and Trilateral Commission. And ultimately, their goals are not to see America remain sovereign. Their goals is to essentially turn this place almost like a socialistic communist type system.
Almost like a corporate socialism.
It's a corporatist, fascistic type system that's being established. And whether it's Democrat or Republican, it doesn't matter, because ultimately, as Carol Quigley expresses in a book of his called Tragedy and Hope, he said that banks would ultimately begin taking over the planet, and in the nations, they would buy out the politicians and subsequently give them rewards in the business world. And they're doing very good at that.
Who do you think's on top? Is it the government or private industry?
Well, I would say the Federal...
Or is it an even partnership?
I got one for you. It's Federal Reserve in a nasty hybrid between manipulation of corporations that reside here on Wall Street, as well as the federal government, because of its power to determine what our monetary policy is. And again, they're unelected. They do as they want, above the law. And they lobby corporations to then lobby government to put restrictions on all the competition in the middle class, which would actually revitalize industry, create innovation, and give jobs to people. And, I mean, I have a simple solution.
What is that?
Get the Fed out of the business of controlling the federal government with monetary manipulation, as well as the corporations, and you'll start to see a reversal of what's happened in the last 100 years between price stability. You'll start seeing corporations having no excuse to outsource jobs overseas. They'll have to reindustrialize back here because they can actually do it.
Okay, but everything you say, Gabriel, everything you just said, there's only one person who's actually advocating what you just said, and that's Ron Paul. Now, do you agree with the man? Would you support the man in his run for presidency, or are you going to support the president administration?
Well, let me put it to you this way. The man...
Obama never said anything about ending the Fed.
Absolutely not. You're right. He didn't. That's why I'll put it to you this way about Ron Paul. I do endorse Ron Paul because he actually stands by a voting record of principle, and you know where he stands, whether you agree or disagree.
Right.
Whereas all the other politicians, in some capacity or another, serve the very interests that run the Federal Reserve, which is not even a government agency. So when you look at that list of people on the Democrat and Republican side, pick your pick, but if you want to change anything, get the Council on Foreign Relations lobby out of government, as well as the Fed and all these organizations, and you'll start seeing change in policy. Until then, you can't change policy.
Okay, Gabriel, listen, what a dynamite interview. Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate it. Good luck to you and your fellow protesters. Okay? Andy Sullivan from Blue Collar Corner just had a dynamite interview with one of the protesters who probably galvanized all his points better than anyone else I've heard. Brett and the boys over at Fox, I truly hope you pick this video and you get this man on the show, because I believe he definitely deserves to be heard. Thank you.